Tinubu is a dictator. Dele Momodu says it reveals what will happen in the coming days. Wow. Already, we are seeing what is happening with the judiciary, with the legislators, and with APC government, and with INEC. We also see what is happening between the INEC, APC, Tinubu, and then PDP and Labour Party at the Supreme Court. So it is obvious, and with the way things are going, with the way Tinubu is handling his appointment, with the way he's handling his policies, the way he's dealing with this Naira exchange rate that is floating, and the subsidy remover, and all this palliative thing, everything about him has actually shown that he's a dictator, just like Buhari was. Okay, but how long? He's only flexible to his immediate cabinet members. The rest public members are on their own. But let's dive into the details and see exactly what Momodu is trying to tell us here. A presidential aspirant on the platform of the People Democratic Party and the publisher of the Ovation magazine, Dele Momodu, has recounted how his relationship with his old friend, President Tinubu, severed. Momodu, who described the president as a dictator, revealed that the freedom of speech and association in the country would be recklessly curtailed in the days and weeks ahead. The publisher further added that President Tinubu is surrounded by some incredibly ruthless fanatics whose entire existence depends on him, and that he was right when he described the president as a potential dictator in 2022. Momodu also spoke about his relationship with Atiku Abubakar, Tinubu's major political opponent. On his X handle, he wrote on October 25, 2022, long before the 2023 presidential election, I was interviewed on Channels TV by Seun Okinbaloye, and he asked my reason for not supporting Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. My response must have caught him off guard. I described Tinubu as a potential dictator. God knows that was the honest truth and a perfect description of how I felt about him. Okay, so I got so many calls that night, and I stood by my assertion. While Tinubu may be soft-hearted and fabulously or strategically generous, he is surrounded by some incredibly ruthless fanatics whose entire life existence depends on him. They detest men of independent means or opinion. I confess to not being able to function in such a toxic environment. So it was no accident that I avoided their group in the last 24 years. What's strange and surprising is that they still think everyone is a robot they can control. But I choose my freedom and doubled my personal effort at succeeding in my mother's business, but still they were not happy. My respect for Alhaji Atiku Abubakar quadrupled because of his very simple democratic credentials. You will never find political desperados around him. He received countless allegations that I was a Tinubu mole spy, but it never bothered him. Okay. He saw my assignment more as that of a professional one that required a technocrat than a hardcore politician. And what was our relationship? And that was our relationship through his campaign and still this day. He never sought the services of political thugs nor expert riggers, despite warnings that some opponents might resort to that. His absolute faith in the rule of law is extraordinary and remarkable. He has placed his faith in Allah and hopes the Supreme Court will do what is just. He will never allow innocent lives to be wasted on his behalf. That is a good one. A good remark, a good commendation for Atiku there. And then also a good or a bad remark for Tinubu there, seeing Tinubu as a potential dictator, which exactly it looks like anyway. And even he said Tinubu might have some kind of good heart, but then he's surrounded by sycophants. He's surrounded by, people who are extreme fanatics, and they can do anything to stay around Tinubu because their life and everything about their lifeline is dependent on Tinubu. So they're ready to be ruthless in order to remain relevant before Tinubu, so as to continue surviving. Now, wow, that's Dele Momodu speaking. So there are a few comments here. Someone say, Mohammed or Mumu, I can tell you, okay, that cat in Dele house is better than more educated than you. That you take it or leave it. Can you imagine? Okay, all of you are the same. No sense among politicians. When you fail to differentiate between loyalty and respect, God is my Godfather, not corrupt minds. Exactly. Somebody say Nigeria is bigger and more valuable than all the obedience, aka obedience. Okay, and Atikufus, can you imagine? Nigeria will survive them. If any of them is sincere, such a person should ask Atiku and Obi to get their transcript published as President Bola Tinubu has done. Then they will be exposed and you will know that both Atiku and Obi are frustrated mediocres. Can you imagine? Congratulations to Tinubu. No wahala. Everybody will chop the water. Say the economy is grounding gradually. We will see where they will get to. As I always say, everything about Dele Momodu is big except his brains. Can you imagine? And insulting him. Totally agree with you, but some gullible tribal psychophants Nigerians can't see it. Okay. Dele, I can tell you that a dog in Tinubu house is better than you. Take it or leave it. Can you imagine? See that kind of insult. So I'm sure you are the dog. That is it. Somebody has given him. Okay. How close have you ever been to Tinubu? A man who has worked with another is giving a first-hand experience with this man, and you are here talking out of point because of whatever affiliations such that has kept you in perpetual darkness. Free yourself from what the wicked Nigerian state has turned you into, a common dog that depends on the crumbs that falls from the table of the aides, okay, that are aides to other aides of Tinubu's appointees. This guy bad. That is it. And that is it. Some people have actually turned to dogs in the hand of APC, in the hand of Tinubu and his politicians. Okay. And a lot of people have turned dogs in the hand of other politicians as well, that they are interested in the crumb that fall from their master's table. They don't have their own brain again to make themselves great or to strive to be great. That's how bad some Nigerians, in fact, most Nigerians are right now. Some are tribal dogs, some are political party dogs, some are, just name it, religious dogs, people who do not have brain of their own and can't even, go to God on their own, read the scripture on their own until somebody has spoken to them. That's how bad it is. All right. And somebody saying here, Dele Momodu is a forthright, assiduous, diligent, hardworking Nigerian. I have known Dele Momodu from his secondary school days at Ile-Ife, bosom friend of Femi Olajuyibe. Can you imagine? So it is quite unfortunate. So, but again, what APC is doing to Nigeria is something that is going to take a long while to recover from. It's quite unfortunate. So thank you for listening, and let's have a comment.